The specialized post office branches, when AI gets fine-tuned. You've probably noticed that when you ask ChatGPT about medical symptoms, it gives remarkably different advice than when you ask it to write a poem. When you need help with legal documents, it shifts into precise, careful language. When you want creative writing assistance, it becomes playful and imaginative. This isn't magic, it's the result of specialized training that transforms general artificial intelligence into domain experts. In the real world, this process is called fine-tuning, and it's how companies create AI assistants for specific industries. Medical AI that can read X-rays and suggest diagnoses. Legal AI that can draft contracts and analyze case law. Creative AI that can write screenplays and compose music. Understanding how this specialization works helps explain why AI seems so remarkably adapted to whatever field you need help with. To understand how this specialization works, imagine ChatGPT as a vast, sophisticated post office. When you send a message like, "What's the capital of France?" Zrenia, it travels through an intake department that breaks your words into pieces, an attention department where every word has conversations with every other word to understand relationships, processing flaws that add layers of understanding, and finally, a response workshop that crafts your reply. It's a systematic journey from your question to a helpful answer. In this episode, we'll visit the specialized branches of this universal post office, where the same fundamental system has been carefully adapted to serve very different human needs. We'll see how artificial intelligence learns to speak like doctors, think like lawyers, and create like artists, all while maintaining the same core processing that makes it so remarkably capable. Whether you're new to understanding how AI works or building on previous knowledge, you'll discover how the same intelligence system adapts to become an expert in whatever field you need help with. Welcome back to the Universal Post Office. You see, after our main post office became so skilled at handling general correspondence, something wonderful happened. Different communities began asking, "Could you help us with our particular kind of communication?" Doctors needed help with medical consultations, lawyers required assistance with legal analysis, writers sought collaboration on creative projects. The brilliant postal administrators realized they could take their proven system, all those attention mechanisms and processing flaws we explored together, and create specialized branches. Each branch would use the same fundamental architecture, but with clerks specially trained for their unique domain. Processing centers calibrated for specific types of thinking, and response workshops optimized for particular kinds of helpful communication. We are going to visit 3 of these remarkable specialized branches so that we can understand how artificial intelligence adapts its incredible capabilities to serve the precise needs of different professional communities. We'll see how the same system that can answer any question can also become a trusted medical advisor, a careful legal consultant, and an inspiring creative collaborator. So settle in comfortably and let's explore how our universal post office expanded into specialized excellence, where artificial intelligence learned to speak the languages of expertise, one domain at a time. The medical post office branch, where AI learns to heal. Our first stop is the medical post office branch, a gleaming facility where the familiar postal architecture has been carefully adapted for healthcare communication. The building itself feels different, quieter, more serious, with the same systematic processing we know and love, but calibrated for the life and death precision that medical communication requires. At the medical intake department, the tokenization process has been enhanced with specialized medical vocabulary. When someone writes, "I've been experiencing intermittent chest pain that radiates to my left arm," the clerks don't just break this into standard language tokens. They recognize intermittent as a crucial timing indicator, radiates as a specific medical term describing pain patterns, and left arm as anatomically significant in cardiac context. The medical intake clerks have been specially trained on millions of medical texts, patient records, clinical studies, and doctor-patient conversations. They've learned to recognize not just medical terminology, but the subtle patterns that distinguish urgent symptoms from routine concerns, the language that suggests someone needs immediate attention versus patient education. Moving to the medical attention department, we find something remarkable. The same attention mechanisms we explored before, but now tuned to medical relationships between symptoms, causes, and treatments. When processing that chest pain message, attention heads immediately connect chest pain with left arm radiation, recognizing this pattern from thousands of cardiac cases in their training. But the medical attention system does something uniquely important. It maintains constant awareness of safety. Special attention heads continuously monitor for symptoms that might indicate emergency conditions, ensuring that responses always prioritize patient safety over convenience or brevity. The processing flaws in the medical branch tell a fascinating story of specialization. Flaw 8 might focus on differential diagnosis, learning to consider multiple possible explanations for symptoms. Flaw 15 could specialize in patient communication, understanding how to explain complex medical concepts without causing unnecessary anxiety. Flaw 23 might handle treatment recommendations, but always with careful attention to scope of practice. These flaws have learned that medical AI should educate and inform, but never replace professional medical judgment. Flaw 31 could focus on empathy and support, recognizing that people seeking medical information are often worried or scared. Flaw 38 might specialize in medical literature integration, staying current with the latest research and treatment guidelines. Flaw 44 could handle referral guidance, knowing when symptoms suggest the need for immediate professional care versus when patient education might be sufficient. In the medical response generation workshop, the craftspeople face unique challenges. They must be simultaneously informative and cautious, helpful and responsible. They've learned to structure responses that acknowledge concerns, provide relevant education, and guide people toward appropriate care, all while maintaining the warm, human tone that makes medical information less frightening. For our chest pain example, they might craft something like, chest pain that radiates to your left arm can have several causes, ranging from muscle strain to more serious cardiac issues. While I can't diagnose your specific situation, this combination of symptoms is something doctors take seriously and often recommend evaluating promptly. The pattern you're describing, especially the radiation to your left arm, is one that medical professionals associate with potential heart-related causes, though other conditions like muscle problems or anxiety can sometimes create similar sensations. Given these symptoms, it would be wise to contact your healthcare provider or consider visiting an urgent care centre for proper evaluation. They can perform the necessary tests, like an EKG or blood work, to determine what's causing your symptoms. In the meantime, if the pain becomes severe, spreads to your jaw or back, or is accompanied by shortness of breath, sweating, or nausea, please seek immediate emergency care. Is there anything specific about your symptoms or concerns I can help explain while you arrange to see a healthcare professional? This response demonstrates the medical branch's sophisticated balance, providing helpful information while maintaining appropriate boundaries and prioritizing patient safety. The Legal Advisory Centre, where AI learns to navigate law. Our next destination is the Legal Advisory Centre, a stately building where precision meets prudence, and every word carries the weight of potential legal consequence. Here, our familiar postal architecture has been adapted for the exacting requirements of legal communication, where accuracy, nuance, and careful qualification matter enormously. The legal intake department processes messages with exceptional attention to jurisdiction, context, and the specific type of legal issue involved. When someone writes, "My landlord is trying to evict me without proper notice," the intake clerks immediately recognize multiple legal dimensions: tenancy law, procedural requirements, jurisdictional variations, and the need for careful, qualified guidance. These specialized clerks have been trained on vast libraries of legal texts, case law, statutes, court decisions, and legal precedents from multiple jurisdictions. They've learned to recognize not just legal terminology, but the subtle distinctions that make law so complex. The difference between criminal and civil matters, between federal and state issues, between procedural and substantive questions. The Legal Attention Department operates with remarkable sophistication. Attention heads focus on the relationships between legal concepts, connecting eviction with notice requirements, landlord with tenant rights, and the specific jurisdiction mentioned or implied in the message. Other attention heads analyze the procedural aspects, recognizing whether someone needs immediate action or general education about their rights. Crucially, the legal attention system maintains constant awareness of the unauthorized practice of law restrictions. Special attention heads monitor to ensure responses provide legal information and education, rather than specific legal advice, helping people understand their situation while respecting the boundaries of professional legal practice. The processing flaws in the legal center reflect the complexity of legal thinking. Flaw 12 might specialize in statutory interpretation, understanding how laws apply to specific situations. Flaw 19 could focus on procedural guidance, knowing the steps involved in various legal processes. Flaw 27 might handle precedent analysis, drawing on knowledge of how courts have interpreted similar situations. Flaw 34 could specialize in jurisdictional awareness, recognizing that legal answers often depend heavily on location and the specific legal system involved. Flaw 41 might focus on practical guidance, understanding that people with legal questions often need to know what steps to take next. Flaw 48 could handle qualification and limitation language, ensuring that responses appropriately acknowledge the complexity of legal situations and the need for professional consultation. The Legal Response Generation Workshop faces perhaps the most delicate communication challenges in our entire postal system. Legal language must be precise, comprehensive, and carefully qualified. The craftspeople have learned to structure responses that educate without advising, inform without practicing law, and guide without making decisions that belong to qualified attorneys. For our eviction example, they might craft something like, eviction procedures are governed by specific laws that vary significantly by state and locality, so the requirements your landlord must follow depend on where you're located and the specific circumstances of your tenancy. Generally speaking, most jurisdictions require landlords to provide proper written notice before beginning eviction proceedings, but the definition of proper notice varies considerably. Some areas require 30 days for month-to-month tenancies, others require different timeframes, and the notice must typically include specific information and be delivered in particular ways. In many jurisdictions, you may have rights including the right to receive proper written notice with specific required information, the right to contest the eviction in court if proper procedures weren't followed, the right to cure certain violations if given the opportunity, protection against retaliatory evictions in some circumstances. However, eviction law is highly location-specific and fact-dependent. What constitutes proper notice in your situation, whether your landlord has followed required procedures, and what options you have depend on factors including your state's laws, local ordinances, the terms of your lease, and the specific reasons for the eviction, given the potential consequences and time-sensitive nature of eviction proceedings. I'd strongly recommend consulting with a local tenants' rights organisation, legal aid clinic, or attorney who can review your specific situation and local laws. Many areas have tenant helplines or legal aid organisations that provide free or low-cost assistance with landlord-tenant issues. Would you like help understanding how to find legal resources in your area? This response demonstrates the Legal Centre's careful approach, providing helpful education while maintaining appropriate boundaries and emphasising the need for professional consultation. The Creative Writing Workshop, where AI learns to imagine. Our final stop takes us somewhere completely different, the Creative Writing Workshop, a vibrant, inspiring space where the same systematic processing we've explored has been tuned for imagination, creativity, and the beautiful unpredictability of artistic expression. This building feels alive with creative energy, the same attention mechanisms and processing flaws we know. But here they've been trained on millions of stories, poems, screenplays, and creative works. They've learned the patterns of compelling narratives, the rhythms of beautiful language, and the techniques that make writing come alive for readers. At the creative intake department, messages get processed with an entirely different sensibility. When someone writes, "Help me write a short story about a lighthouse keeper who discovers something mysterious," the intake clerks don't just pass the literal request. They recognize the genre implications, the atmospheric possibilities, the narrative potential in isolation and mystery. These creative clerks have been trained on vast libraries of literature, from classic novels to contemporary short stories, from poetry collections to experimental fiction. They've absorbed the patterns of effective storytelling, the techniques that create emotional resonance, and the approaches that make creative writing feel alive and engaging. The creative attention department operates with remarkable artistic sensitivity. Attention heads focus on thematic relationships, connecting lighthouse keeper with isolation and vigilance, discovers with revelation and change, mysterious with suspense and wonder. Other attention heads analyze genre expectations, narrative structure possibilities, and the emotional journey implicit in the creative request. Unlike our other specialized branches, the creative attention system embraces ambiguity and multiple interpretations. Where medical and legal processing seeks precision, creative processing celebrates the richness of multiple meanings, the beauty of suggestion rather than specification. The processing floors in the creative workshop tell a story of artistic sophistication. Floor 9 might specialize in character development, understanding how to create compelling, believable characters with clear motivations and interesting flaws. Floor 17 could focus on setting and atmosphere, knowing how physical environments can enhance mood and meaning. Floor 24 might handle narrative structure, understanding different approaches to storytelling, from traditional beginning middle end formats to experimental narrative techniques. Floor 32 could specialize in dialogue, creating conversations that sound natural while advancing plot and revealing character. Floor 39 might focus on sensory detail and imagery, knowing how specific, concrete details make writing vivid and immersive. Floor 46 could handle thematic depth, understanding how to weave meaningful ideas through entertaining narratives without being heavy-handed. The Creative Response Generation Workshop represents perhaps the most remarkable adaptation of our postal system. Here, the craftspeople must balance structure with surprise, technique with inspiration, helpfulness with artistic integrity. They've learned to collaborate rather than just provide, to inspire rather than just instruct. For our Lighthouse Keeper story request, they might craft something like, "What a wonderfully atmospheric premise. A lighthouse keeper discovering something mysterious has rich storytelling potential. Let me help you explore some possibilities, and then we can develop whichever direction excites you most." Consider these creative angles. The discovery itself. Is it something physical? A hidden room? Strange object washed ashore? Old journal? Something supernatural? Unexplained lights, voices, temporal anomalies? Or something personal? A family secret? Forgotten memory? Hidden talent? The keeper's character. Are they a lifelong islander or newcomer seeking solitude, someone running from something or towards something? Their background will shape how they interpret and respond to the mystery. The story's tone. Will this be suspenseful and dark, whimsical and magical, melancholy and beautiful, or something else entirely? Here's one possible opening to spark your imagination. Margot had been keeping the girl's rest light for 11 months when she found the room. Not found, exactly, since the door had always been there in the lighthouse's base, painted the same weathered white as the walls and easy to dismiss as a storage closet. But that Tuesday morning, with fog thick enough to muffle the harbour bells, she noticed the door was slightly ajar, though she was certain she'd never opened it. Inside, the room was impossibly larger than the lighthouse's circumference should have allowed. What draws you to this setup? Are you more interested in the mystery itself, the keeper's emotional journey, or something else? I'd love to help you develop whichever aspect excites your imagination most. This response demonstrates the Creative Workshop's collaborative approach, providing inspiration and options rather than definitive answers, encouraging the human writer's own creative vision while offering professional techniques and possibilities. The coordination between branches, sharing wisdom. What makes these specialized branches truly remarkable isn't just their individual expertise, but how they coordinate and share knowledge when complex situations arise. Sometimes a message arrives that touches multiple domains, requiring the medical branch's health knowledge, the legal centre's procedural understanding, and the creative workshop's communication skills. Consider someone writing, "I'm a nurse who wants to write a medical thriller novel, but I'm worried about accurately portraying the legal issues around patient privacy violations." This message would trigger coordination between all three branches. The medical branch would contribute understanding of healthcare settings, professional protocols, and realistic medical scenarios. The legal centre would provide knowledge about HIPAA regulations, privacy law, and the legal consequences of various violations. The creative workshop would offer guidance on narrative structure, character development, and how to make legal and medical details serve the story rather than overwhelming it. The coordination happens through shared attention mechanisms that recognize when expertise from multiple domains would be valuable. Special coordination clerks ensure that the different branches don't contradict each other, that medical accuracy doesn't conflict with legal precision, and that both technical accuracy and creative effectiveness are maintained. This coordination reflects something profound about how specialized AI systems work in the real world. They maintain their core processing capabilities while developing domain expertise, and they can combine different types of knowledge when complex situations require it. The training that created specialization, from general to expert. The transformation of our general post office into these specialized branches represents one of the most fascinating aspects of artificial intelligence development. Each branch began with the same fundamental architecture, the same attention mechanisms, the same processing floors that we explored in our original tour. But then came the specialized training. The medical branch clerks studied millions of medical journals, patient cases, treatment guidelines, and doctor-patient interactions. They learned not just medical vocabulary, but medical thinking, the patterns of symptoms and diagnoses, the approaches that effective healthcare communication requires. The legal centre staff immersed themselves in case law, statutes, legal briefs, and court proceedings. They absorbed not just legal language, but legal reasoning, the precise distinctions that matter in law, the careful qualification that responsible legal communication demands. The creative workshop team read literature, studied storytelling techniques, analysed what makes writing compelling, and learned to collaborate with human creativity rather than replace it. But here's what makes this specialization truly remarkable. Each branch maintained the core capabilities that made the original post office so effective. The medical branch can still handle general questions. The legal centre can still engage in ordinary conversation. The creative workshop can still provide factual information when needed. The specialization added expertise without sacrificing versatility. It's like having postal clerks who became doctors, lawyers, and writers, but who still remember how to handle regular mail with skill and care. The future branches, where specialization leads. As we conclude our tour of these specialized branches, it's worth imagining where this remarkable adaptability might lead. Our postal system has proven that the same fundamental architecture can be customized for radically different domains, suggesting possibilities for even more specialized branches in the future. Perhaps we'll see an engineering workshop where artificial intelligence collaborates on technical design challenges. Maybe a teaching academy where AI learns the sophisticated art of pedagogy, adapting explanations to different learning styles and knowledge levels. Possibly a therapy centre where AI provides carefully trained emotional support within appropriate professional boundaries. Each potential branch would use the same core processing we've explored, attention mechanisms that understand relationships, processing floors that build sophisticated understanding, and response workshops that craft helpful communication, but each would be calibrated for its unique domain, trained on specialized knowledge, and designed to serve specific human needs with remarkable expertise. The specialization possibilities seem almost limitless, limited only by human imagination and the availability of training materials that can teach artificial intelligence the patterns and principles of different professional domains. What this means for understanding how AI really works. Now that we've toured these specialized branches, you can see why artificial intelligence seems to be everywhere at once. When headlines announce AI revolutionizing healthcare or AI transforming legal services, what's really happening is the post office branch phenomenon, the same remarkable system we've explored, learning to speak the languages of different professional worlds. Companies aren't building entirely new artificial minds for each field. Instead, they're taking the proven postal architecture and creating specialized branches through careful training. This is why we're witnessing such rapid AI adoption across so many different areas simultaneously. The core intelligence transfers beautifully, while the expertise gets customized for each domain. Understanding this helps explain why some AI applications feel genuinely helpful while others disappoint. The successful ones maintain that core postal flexibility while adding real domain wisdom. The failures often try to force general AI into specialized roles without proper training, or create systems so narrowly focused they lose the adaptability that makes artificial intelligence truly remarkable. The most valuable AI companies often aren't the ones building the main post office, but the ones creating thoughtful, specialized branches. Medical AI companies, legal technology firms, creative writing tools. The specialization layer is where much of the genuine helpfulness emerges. Where this journey leads. We're entering a period where every professional field will develop its own AI branch. Just as every industry eventually welcomed computers and the internet, every domain will cultivate specialized artificial intelligence capabilities. The post office architecture makes this almost inevitable. The same core system can adapt to virtually any field with enough examples to learn from. The coordination between branches we witness suggests something even more remarkable ahead. AI systems that seamlessly weave together expertise from multiple domains. Imagine artificial intelligence that simultaneously understands medical protocols, legal requirements, insurance processes, and patient communication, all coordinated through those same attention mechanisms we explored. The creative writing workshop points toward perhaps the most interesting future, where AI becomes a sophisticated thinking partner rather than a replacement. As artificial intelligence becomes more skilled at understanding different domains, it becomes more valuable as a collaborator than as an autonomous operator. Eventually, we might see AI systems that create deeply personalized branches, not just medical AI, but artificial intelligence that understands your specific health history, communication preferences, and decision-making style. The post office architecture could theoretically support countless individual specializations. Common misunderstandings about AI specialization. Many people worry that AI will replace all human experts, but our tour of the specialized branches reveals something different. The medical branch learned to operate within professional boundaries, providing education while emphasizing the need for human diagnosis. The legal center offers information while carefully respecting professional practice limitations. The specialization often makes human expertise more valuable, not less relevant. Others assume that AI understands like humans do, but the post office metaphor reveals artificial intelligence as remarkably sophisticated pattern recognition and prediction, not human-like comprehension. The attention mechanisms identify relationships, and the processing floors build complex representations. But this isn't the same as human understanding. AI can be extraordinarily effective without truly understanding in the way we do. Some think different AI applications are completely separate technologies, when our exploration shows that ChatGPT, medical AI, legal AI, and creative AI often share the same fundamental architecture. They're specialized versions of similar underlying systems, not entirely different technologies. This explains why advances in one area often benefit others unexpectedly. Many assume AI specialization requires starting completely over each time. But the beauty of the post office architecture is that specialization builds on general capabilities rather than replacing them. Medical AI doesn't forget how to have normal conversations. It adds medical expertise to existing communication abilities. This is why AI development accelerates rather than beginning from zero for each new domain. There's also a belief that more specialized always means better, but the most effective AI systems balance specialization with versatility. Over-specialized AI can become brittle, unable to handle situations outside its narrow training. The best specialized branches maintain the flexibility and general intelligence of the main post office, while adding domain expertise. Some think AI specialization is simply about feeding more data, but effective specialization also requires understanding professional standards, ethical boundaries, communication styles, and the genuine human needs within each domain. It's not just about showing medical journals to AI, it's about teaching appropriate medical communication, safety considerations, and professional limitations. Finally, many wonder if AI will develop consciousness through specialization. But the post office metaphor suggests that even highly specialized AI remains fundamentally about pattern recognition and prediction. Adding medical knowledge or legal expertise doesn't bring AI closer to consciousness. It makes the pattern recognition more sophisticated within specific domains. The attention mechanisms and processing floors can become remarkably capable without becoming sentient. What this means for all of us. For professionals, understanding AI specialization helps you see where artificial intelligence can enhance your work rather than threaten it. The specialized branches are designed to work within professional boundaries, suggesting a future of human-AI collaboration rather than replacement. For organizations, the post office model suggests that successful AI implementation requires both solid foundational systems and thoughtful specialization. Companies benefit most from creating AI branches that genuinely understand their domain rather than trying to force general AI into specialized roles. For all of us, understanding how AI specialization actually works helps us prepare for a world where artificial intelligence assistance becomes available in every professional domain. The key insight is that this assistance maintains professional boundaries and human oversight, rather than replacing human judgment entirely. The post office metaphor ultimately reveals AI as powerful but systematic technology, one that can be understood, directed, and collaborated with effectively when we grasp how its specialization really works. As you encounter more specialized AI in your daily life, you'll recognize the familiar postal architecture beneath the surface, the same attention mechanisms and processing floors, adapted with care and wisdom to serve the specific needs of whatever domain you're exploring. Whether you're asking for medical guidance, legal information, or creative collaboration, you're visiting a specialized branch of that same remarkable universal post office, where artificial intelligence has learned to speak the languages of human expertise, one domain at a time. The hidden economics of AI intelligence. Here's something most people don't realize. The cost of creating a specialized AI branch is dramatically different from building the main post office. Training the foundational system requires enormous computational resources, millions of dollars and months of processing. But creating a specialized branch, that might cost a few $1,000s and take days. This explains why we're seeing an explosion of specialized AI companies. The expensive part, building the core intelligence, has been done. Now countless entrepreneurs can create domain-specific branches relatively affordably. It's like the difference between building a postal system from scratch versus opening a new branch office. This also means that small organizations and niche industries will soon have access to AI capabilities that were previously available only to tech giants. A local law firm could theoretically create an AI branch specialized in their specific area of practice. A regional hospital could develop AI trained on their particular patient population and medical protocols. Why AI seems to understand you better over time. When you have longer conversations with AI, something interesting happens at the attention department level. The system isn't just processing your current message, it's maintaining attention connections to everything you've said before in that conversation. Your conversation history becomes part of the routing information for every new message. This creates an illusion of memory and understanding that's actually quite different from human memory. The AI doesn't remember you between conversations, but within a conversation, it's simultaneously paying attention to dozens or hundreds of previous exchanges. It's like having postal clerks who can instantly reference every piece of mail you've ever sent to that office, but only during your current visit. Understanding this helps explain why AI conversations can feel so remarkably personalized and contextual, while also explaining why that sense of understanding disappears when you start a new conversation. The attention revolution you're living through. The attention mechanism we explored, where every word has conversations with every other word, represents one of the most significant advances in artificial intelligence history. Before this breakthrough, AI could only process language sequentially, like reading a sentence one word at a time with no ability to reconsider earlier words based on later context. The attention system changed everything. Now AI can understand that the word bank means something different in riverbank versus savings bank, not by memorizing definitions, but by letting bank have conversations with river and savings to determine its meaning in context. You're living through the early years of this attention revolution. Most of the AI capabilities that seem magical today, from translation to creative writing to code generation, became possible only because of this breakthrough in helping artificial systems understand relationships and context. Why AI hallucinations happen and always will. Here's an insight that makes you smarter about AI limitations. The same mechanism that makes AI remarkably creative and helpful also guarantees it will sometimes generate convincing sounding but false information. The response generation workshop operates by predicting what words should come next, based on patterns learned from millions of examples. This system is extraordinarily good at generating fluent, contextually appropriate text, but it has no direct connection to a database of verified facts. It's creating responses based on statistical patterns, not looking up information. This means AI can confidently generate detailed information about non-existent books, historical events that never happened, or scientific studies that sound plausible but were never conducted. The same creativity that helps it write compelling stories can accidentally create compelling fiction when you're asking for facts. Understanding this makes you a more sophisticated AI user. You'll know to verify important factual claims, while appreciating the creative and analytical capabilities for what they truly are. The coming wave of AI literacy. You're gaining a type of literacy that will become as important as computer literacy was in the 1990s. Just as understanding how computers work, what they're good at, and what their limitations are, became essential for navigating the modern world, understanding AI systems will become crucial for the next era. The people who understand the post office metaphor, who grasp how attention mechanisms work, who recognize the difference between pattern recognition and true understanding, will be better equipped to collaborate with AI effectively, evaluate AI-generated content appropriately, and make informed decisions about when and how to use these powerful tools. This isn't just technical knowledge, it's practical wisdom about living and working with artificial intelligence. You're developing the cognitive tools to thrive in a world where AI assistance becomes commonplace, understanding both its remarkable capabilities and its fundamental limitations. Whether you're asking for medical guidance, legal information, or creative collaboration, you're visiting a specialized branch of that same remarkable universal post office, where artificial intelligence has learned to speak the languages of human expertise, one domain at a time. Conclusion. the beauty of adaptive intelligence. As our tour of the specialized post office branches comes to a close, we've witnessed something remarkable about artificial intelligence. The same systematic processing that can handle any general question can also be refined into domain expertise that rivals human professionals in specific areas. From the careful precision of medical consultation, through the qualified guidance of legal advice, to the collaborative inspiration of creative writing, we've seen how artificial intelligence adapts its remarkable capabilities to serve very different human needs. The medical branch showed us AI learning to balance information with safety, providing helpful health education while respecting the boundaries of professional medical practice. The legal centre demonstrated AI mastering the precise, qualified language that legal communication requires, educating without practicing law. The creative workshop revealed AI learning to inspire and collaborate rather than replace, supporting human creativity rather than supplanting it. Perhaps most remarkably, all of this specialization emerges from the same fundamental learning process we explored in our original post office tour. The same prediction training, the same attention mechanisms, the same collaborative processing, refined and focused through exposure to specialized domains. As you drift off to sleep tonight, you can appreciate that artificial intelligence has learned not just to communicate, but to adapt its communication to serve the precise needs of different professional communities. Whether you need medical guidance, legal information, or creative collaboration, specialized AI stands ready to assist, each branch maintaining the helpful intelligence of the original while developing the focused expertise that makes truly valuable assistance possible. Sweet dreams. And remember that in this remarkable era, artificial intelligence continues to evolve, learning not just to think, but to think like the experts we turn to in our moments of greatest need, one specialized domain at a time.